So Nick Diaz recently said he plans to come back to the UFC and win a world championship. I don't see him beating Islammakachev for the UFC welterweight title, and I don't see him beating khamzatchimaev for the UFC middleweight championship. Both Diaz brothers have done bad traditionally against wrestlers, but we're talking about Nick. He fought Carlos Condit, who was a jiu-jitsu guy and mostly a stand-up fighter, and instead of using his jiu-jitsu, he never took Carlos Condit down. So he wound up losing that fight based off of points, as Carlos Condit was sticking and moving. That was Nick Diaz's first shot at a UFC title, was for the interim welterweight title. He lost that. He went up against Georges St-Pierre for the undisputed UFC welterweight title, and instead of using his jiu-jitsu, all 5 rounds he just kept getting taken down by Georges St-Pierre, who of course was going to rely on his wrestling because he didn't want to stand and bang with Nick. But realistically, Nick Diaz is 42 years old. He says he's going to come back and win a world championship in the UFC. I don't see it happening against either Khamzatchimaev or Islammakachev. They would just smother him on the ground and pretty much give him problems all night long. They would just give him L's. So, in thinking about the perfect opponent for Nick Diaz, I would say it would be Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is currently boxing for Misfits Boxing. He's currently the Misfits middleweight champion. Nick Diaz could definitely win that fight, seeing that boxing is his strong point and seeing that he prefers to box over actually utilizing his jiu-jitsu. Another thing is, with the UFC, they seem to be investing in younger guys, and they're no longer paying like high price for old stars, especially now that they've abandoned the PPV model. So there's no getting pay-per-view points anymore. It's like they're gonna shortchange guys now that they're on Paramount. You know, now Paramount, everybody pays literally under $10 to watch all the UFC events. So, like I said, I think the perfect match for Nick Diaz is Tony Ferguson for the middleweight championship in Misfits Boxing. But in the UFC, nah, man. His moment has passed. And honestly, these young, hungry killers in the UFC would just dismantle him. Like, desert people don't play. Those wrestlers, those Chechenian wrestlers, those Dagestani wrestlers are like a whole different animal. They're no joke. And I think Nick Diaz, he just wouldn't stand a chance. But against Tony Ferguson in boxing stand-up, I definitely see him winning the title there. Let me know what you think.